and crusades.
Yeah.
We have to understand that these are the lineage. These are the don't think that these presidents of America and prime ministers over the world are elected from the street level like people are made to think. Sure, they have a few of those just to give you the idea that it's true. But these are royal appointees brought up in bloodline families.
Yeah, exactly.
Off the record so that you don't know about them.
Yeah.
So let's get out of this idea that some holy Jehovah up there making these wrathful, vengeful, violent contracts with his chosen people. It's complete and utter nonsense.
Yeah. Amazing.
Then we have to understand another thing that proves this is the concept of Phariseeism. The word Pharisee actually means those who are set apart. Meaning that they already understood themselves to be an elite. This was not about all of the people. The Pharisee, the word means to be separate.
Ah, interesting.
So two things we have to understand is that this was a group apart. Jews need to understand this. They've got to read their own books and decipher this. That this coterie has got nothing to do with modern Judaism, this Phariseeism. This Phariseeism is the biggest plague on the face of this earth, not just to Islamic people and Christian people, but to normal Torah-worshipping Jews.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, just to a question here. I mean, are these people, the ones with, alien blood, or is there an extraterrestrial connection here, for lack of a better term?
Let's go into that in another show, because we always talk about the dragon court.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, this Pharisaic, as soon as you're talking Atonism, wherever you see the Aton disc, you always saw the cobras as well. So the dragon court is very much a part of this.
Okay,
Atonism is a later invention of the Egyptians. Basically, by the 18th dynasty, you could say that Egypt, as what Egypt originally was in its final throes. It was never going to be the same.
Yeah.
And certainly by the time Akhenaten has done his devastation, Egypt could never be, put back in the pristine, beautiful cultural way that it was. It couldn't have been done. Him and his grandfathers had ruined Egypt. Queen Tai had just decimated the beauty of Egypt. And also they had suffered from famines and droughts and volcanoes and other things.
Yeah.
So this Atonism that we're talking about is a specific form of solar worship. I don't think that sun worship itself is a negative thing. I think that it has a high side, a powerful side, and then there is this dark side, the dark side of the worship of the sun.
Yeah.
And it's with Akhenaten that it got skewed into this particular Talmudic, Levitical way in which many ancient teachings, like of the stellar cult and of the sign of the 12, has been co-opted and hijacked.
Yeah.
Now, see, don't forget, the so-called famous Valley of the Kings was the creation of Akhenaten. Did you know that? Kings were not buried in the Valley of the Kings. He started that.
Yeah, they haven't found that many, bodies in that area,
right.
I guess, so...
The Valley of the Kings was, again, a separatist thing.
Yeah.
We've got to realize that the super racism that we have inherited today through the Zionist movement, and when I say Zionist, I don't mean Jewish.
Yes.
Well, people have understood this now, and if they don't, they better listen back to our previous shows.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Atonism and Zionism, we're not talking about Judaism in the way that it is known today, religious Judaism.
Yeah.
But this super separatist covenant, Zionism, is also featured in the fact that Akhenaten and his people did not get themselves buried in the normal places where the Egyptian pharaohs were buried.
Yeah.
They buried themselves in what's known as the Valley of the Kings, which is a very recent area in which they interned themselves. They wanted to be buried. Pharaohs before were never buried. They were put in sort of mausoleums or in cenotaphs. They were never buried in the physical earth.
Wow.
This started again also with Akhenaten.
Oh,
and that tells us a great deal, you see. So in 2 Samuel, for instance, it says, "Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them as before time." So this is 2 Samuel. Again, Israel is said to, the implication is that Israel has lost its throne, and now has to find another place that's safe for them.
Yeah.
All of these are referring to something. They're referring to a loss and then to a regaining of the world outside of that. And now probably to conclude, because we've got little time left.
Yeah, we just got about 5 minutes, so yeah, of course.
Well, that should be enough, because I want to emphasize, and it's on my website, on the astrotheology pages, people can go to the area that talks about the connection between the Freemasonry and Judaism.
Yeah.
But when we read in the Encyclopedia of European Freemasonry that each lodge is and must be a symbol of the Jewish temple, each master of the chair is a representative of the Jewish king, and every Mason a personification of the Jewish workman. That's in the Encyclopedia of European Freemasonry in 1906. Then we have from the great Yuri Lina, who's the Russian author on Freemasonry and Judaism, who's now living in Sweden.
Yeah.
He says Masonic authors Christopher Knight and Robert Lomas admit that every Grand Master of Freemasonry is the priest of Yahweh. This is from Yuri Lina's Architects of Deception.
Yeah, interesting.
And Rabbi Isaac Wise, he has a quote. Oh, we got a call?
Do we have a call? No, I guess not. Okay, go ahead, Michael.
Okay, Freemasonry is a Jewish establishment. Okay, this is Isaac Wise, Rabbi.
Yeah.
Freemasonry is a Jewish establishment whose history, grades, official appointments, passwords, and explanations are Jewish from beginning to end. People can find these exact quotes on my website.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
I want to interrupt. They just put me on right now. I just had a question for Michael about the age of the Sahara Desert. I was told, I heard on a program I was just watching, that it only began to become a desert 7,000 years ago.
Much less. Even 300 years ago, it was barely the desert that it is now.
So what caused it? I mean, I don't really believe in all the alien stuff, and but I think that you are the foremost authority for secret society information that I've found on the internet. But I like when you were talking to I think it was George Norrie. It always seemed like he would try to spin you into talking about aliens.
Well, thanks for your question. We're going to have to answer that question later in context. We're getting off the subject of where I want to go right now, but you can either email me personally about those questions, or we will certainly deal with them. And in my DVDs, I've dealt with everything that you're talking about. The age of the Sahara Desert, and many of these other points are also dealt with in the Atlantis DVD. It's very, very important, connecting to the age of the Earth and the creation of the deserts in modern times. Very interesting questions. But, that's a huge thing.
Keep up the good work. I'll hang up. Thank you.
Please email me, and I'll be certainly happy to go into it, privately.
Yeah, thank you very much for your call.
Well, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your call. Yeah, Michael, we can, dive into the extraterrestrial alien connection in a later show, perhaps.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sort out
great questions, and they need to come out.
Exactly.
In context of what we're doing right now, I just want to finish these quotes.
Absolutely.
From the Jewish Guardian of 1922. It says, Freemasonry is born out of Israel. Okay? The Jewish Tribune of 1927. Masonry is based on Judaism. Eliminate the teachings of Judaism from Masonic ritual, and nothing is left. Or the quote is, what is left? Question mark. Then we have from the opening speech of the B'nai B'rith. This was published in 1936. We have founded many secret associations which all work for our purpose, under our orders and our direction. One of the many triumphs of our Freemasonry is that those Gentiles who become members of our lodges should never suspect that we are using them to build their own jails. Upon the terraces we shall erect the throne of our universal King of the Jews, and should never know that we are commanding them to forge the chains of their own civility to our own future King of the world. So again, from the horse's mouth, Michael Tsarion and David Icke and Yuri Lina, we aren't making a thing up here. We are not some crazy, fringe, freaky, conspiracy nuts.
No,
we are exposing the creatures in the White House and in the City of London who sit on the thrones of the world, whose sadism and dementia is so incredibly intense that how dare they turn around and say to the flock, beware of conspiracy theorists. Who is that asking you to beware of conspiracy theorists?
Exactly.
The most sadistic, evil, Luciferian, molesting, megalomaniacal people are telling you to not use your own brain and find out what's going on. Now, as we can see from these quotes and others, and we can end with this because this is the most key point, let us not now use these quotes as so many scholars out there are using to bash Jews. Normally, when quotes like that are read, it is on anti-Jewish, shows or in anti-Jewish paraphernalia and books. And I will not be lumped in with those people because it is not the Torah Jew, the religious Jew of today's modern world,
exactly,
who has no tie to the people that I am talking about. I am implicating the Habsburgs, the Hanoverians, the Saxe-Coburgs, the Gothas, the whole slew, and the Vatican, of the Vatican states.
Exactly, and we need to, that needs to be done, and people, they can raise their eyebrows just so long, I guess, and after a while, hopefully they will pick up on this also and just, don't be stopped.
If people want to stay, if people are so, blinded into their Judaism that when somebody is speaking about this kind of thing, they identify so strongly that they personally take exception. There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a teacher, and I expect people to have an open mind, to listen, and to step outside their narrow-minded dogma.
Yeah.
That's the right of a teacher to ask for that. But I am not responsible if some Jewish person who hasn't done their homework, who doesn't want to listen, and who's identified himself with this evilarchy, with this Zionistic, atonistic, Egyptian, broken cult, if they want to identify with that and think that that's what the Torah is talking about,
exactly,
that's what their God is talking about, then by all means believe that lie. I am not addressing you. I have nothing to say to you.
Yeah, we have to end the program there, Michael. We're flat out of time, so thank you again very much. Thank you.
Everything. So good luck to Daniel. Got the right question.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for being on, Michael. And we'll take a break next week, and we'll continue August 3rd, I guess, with the next show.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Michael. Bye-bye. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And as we said, we'll continue this series with Michael August the 3rd, Thursday. So stay tuned, and we will have another show for you next week lined up. So thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye. This has been Red Ice Radio.